All right, everyone. I think we are live now. I'm gonna let people join. I'm gonna let the stream start as well. I'm gonna wait for it to happen. Such a beautiful moment to begin with. Let's see. Yeah, I think we are live now. Perfect. Sounds good. All right. Okay. See, I'm gonna start in 1 minute. I'm gonna let people join. The stream is scheduled for 7:30, so I hope everyone joins. Gonna wait for a few more minutes. Maybe give them some time. Meanwhile, let's launch a few things. All right, guys. Please join whenever you can. Whoever is here. Yo, yo, yo. What's up, bro? Welcome to the stream. All right, guys. See, for the sake of recording this video as well, like I want people to be able to watch this video as a recording and not just as a stream. So I'm gonna wrap it up in a few minutes. Okay. I'm gonna take questions after that if there is any question. All right. Okay. So whoever is here, please, as they join, stream is scheduled for 7:30. So I'm gonna start now, not to waste further time. First of all, thank you so much to everyone involved in this project so far. Like this project has been a journey in itself. Of course, this did not necessarily take 1 or 2 years. I think 2 years, but of course, it was a project where everyone was involved, emotionally, technically. Not everyone was involved technically, but yeah, emotionally, yes, for sure. So I mean, I had a few job switches here and there. I had city switches, I had flat switches, I had everyone. I had switched many things. Okay, I should not talk about all of that, but okay. I think I'm here right now, releasing this project to all of you, with a lot of hope that eventually everyone will understand the importance of it. It's highly possible I will not be able to market it to all of you, and I'll let everyone to, on their own self to figure it out how it can be useful from the README, from the extension, from everything. So I really suck at sales and marketing, so may not be the best person to summarize this in 7 lines, which where I'll be able to sell it to you all. But for now, I'm gonna talk about what we have done so far. Okay, let's start with the demo first, because I possibly want to show it to you all on how it works. So probably we can touch something. CD documents projects. We need to find. I have a lot of folders, to be honest. Okay, I think it's in projects. Context pilot RS. Okay, cool. I think I can also do this. So I'm pretty sure I'm not. it's it's amazing. Like I think the commit I'm at right now over here in this folder is particularly very old. So it's crazy because it kind of brings up those memories where you started working on this project, and once yeah, it's gonna be a huge pull. I know. I'm gonna just allow it to merge instead of Freebase for now. It doesn't make any difference. Okay, you know what? Let's clone it from the starting, guys. Doesn't hurt. And actually, we don't even need to clone it like this. We can just start as well from any project that we want. Let me zoom in for you all. Context pilot RS. So I'm going to clone all the repositories of plugins as well, because I want you all to understand how this was coded. Okay, let's try to build the project, right? And let it build successfully, and then we'll see. All right, I think I'd want to start Zelich, but I also want to clone the NeoVim plugin, right? And then I also want to clone the VS Code plugin. We also have Emacs plugin, by the way, but I've not tested it to the latest features. And I don't like a few things about Emacs right now because of the single threaded behavior. So I'm gonna still clone it for you all, but okay, cool. Okay, all right, guys. So we are here. Let me go to NeoVim and make sure that we have. Okay, this is for some reason always slow, but so the way to set up NeoVim plugin is very simple. You mention krshimali / context pilot dot NeoVim, and you just set things up. You require context pilot that's required for you to load it, and that's it, right? Once this is done, you are able to set it up properly. So maybe let's go to git command algo. I want to quickly show this git commit descriptions. Let's select this piece of code. All I'm doing is selecting a few lines of code. Then let's try to run a command. So I'm going to do relevant commits range. What this is basically going to give me is all the commits that are relevant to this piece of code. Now, what do you call, what is relevance to you, right? Anything that ever touched this piece of code is relevant. Okay. So once you do this, it's going to process descriptions for you. And once this is done, it also says sorted by date, newest is first. So as you can see, it says output author name, date time as well. Now, if I like this commit did touch this function, why? Because I was returning something else. So this commit did touch. Fix get commit descriptions is pretty obvious from the commit title as well, that this touch the code and new query mode descriptions, right? And why do you have to touch a code? Swanand, okay. I think by touch the code, I guess everyone understands what I meant. If it was meant as a joke, yeah. But I think the whole point is, you know, when you are trying to read through a code and you want to understand where is the bug coming from, right? This is where you want to answer this question and say that, okay, let's look at all the commits that have ever, made an edit to this piece of code. And that's where the bug is, right? So you will be able to pass it to LLM and say that, okay, please find me out of all these 4 commits, where is the bug coming from, right? Sometimes it happens when you join a big corporation, you feel very difficult to understand that, okay, where should I look for? Like, what are the, like right now, there is no possible way for anyone to figure out which is the commit that ever introduced this change. There's no possible way. I challenge, like, there's no possible way except just doing git blame once. If you're lucky, the latest commit is giving the right result. Yes, sure. But outside of this, there's no way right now to do it. But Context Pilot will let you do that. All you have to do is select this code, run this command. That's it. There you go, right? And this is the first commit that ever introduced this change, new query mode descriptions, and that's exactly it, right? Like, this is the function. I mean, this is the PR that ever went in, right? So I think this makes sense. Music Stories, thank you so much for joining. Can you please create a tutorial for Rust? I love learning from you. Thank you so much for joining in. I would love to for sure one day, and I'm grateful that you enjoy the stream so far. So thank you so much for joining in. All right, guys. So you understand, right? And let me actually do the same for VS Code as well. So let's open VS Code. All right, guys. I'm gonna keep it very simple for everyone who is on VS Code. Please make sure that you just search for Context Pilot out there. Go for Kushasha Shimali. I'm gonna uninstall it for now. I'm gonna install it again. Okay. Right. 0.8. It's not Mac Mini. It's a Mac system though. I would have loved to get a Mac Mini, but that's very costly right now. Anyways, so let's go and open a folder. Okay, I'm gonna go exactly at the same file that we had. Let's go to Context Pilot RS src. No, actually, you know what? Just please make sure to open the right workspace. No, not system. I meant like it's a laptop that I've connected to my monitor. So yeah, that is it, right? So, all right, guys. Now look at this, right? So we go to the same file, right? We go to the same function. All you have to do is, let me zoom in for you all again. So all you have to do is select this function, any piece of code, not necessarily the whole function. If you want to only find the logic for some 3-4 lines of code, go ahead and do it. Hi Dave, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. I was just demoing this thing. So when you do get relevant commits for a piece of code that is selected, and let it run, and you'll see this is amazing, right? So as you can see, it says all the commits in the order from recent to oldest. Now when you output author name, date time as well, fix get commit descriptions, new query mode descriptions as well. When you click on it, it will open that commit title for you, descriptions, and author and date, right? So like this is gonna work, and it is what it is, right? I mean, so this is one mode that I wanted to demo. Like you can earlier before this, I'll tell you what changed as well, right? So now before this, what was happening? You'll have to always index. Now indexing is optional. Now what that means is, what about co-authored commits? Can you show that also? I think, okay, that's a good idea. Music stories. Okay, why I guys, while you get these idea, one thing I would love for you to do is actually please go ahead and create an issue out of it. We can always show a lot of changes, a lot of things. So I mean, this is why this is like not at version 1.0 right now, it's version 0.9. So please go ahead and create an issue. I would love for you guys to contribute as well if you can. Even if not, I love for you guys to take the credit of the issue. I'll make sure that I work on it and get it delivered, right? But let's come back to this, right? Now, what I want to do is it a hike? Oh, on GitHub, is it? I don't know, man. It's if you're going blind, I'm actually blind. But yeah, okay. One thing I want to tell. Okay, so before a few releases, what used to happen was this indexing was always compulsory. So you always had to do the start indexing, right? So when you do index workspace, right, what it does is it looks at the whole repository. It calculates something from the algorithm, right? And then it stores into a local DB. And when you query again, right, so it looks at the DB and fetches results from you. Now the problem here is, okay, please guys understand the problem, okay? Problem is, let's say you have committed some few, like there have been few commits after the time you have indexed. Okay, so this is possible that after few lines, you have had a few lines of these code, like, okay. So the next time when you try to do, when you try to query on these 3-4 lines, right, the positions has changed. The positions have changed, right? So what that means is my algorithm will not be able to give you the most accurate results because in index DB, the result is not accurate. Okay. So now what happens is when you do this, right, which is more accurate to be honest. So when you do get relevant commits, it actually in the background only only performs the indexing on this current file. Okay. Which is of course very quick. The indexing is very, very fast now, right? And it will give you the result. So right now I have not done the indexing, but let's try indexing now. Okay. So I'm going to do index workspace. And as you can see, it shows you this really nice progress bar and it says index completed successfully, done, everything is done, right? And once you now you try to do this, get relevant commits, this is very quick now, right? Why? Because of course it's trying to get the result from the DB, and DB, like fetching the result from the DB locally, is very fast compared to indexing and then doing it, right? So I hope you guys get the point so far. So, I mean, I have just want to point out what all things have changed in the recent past, right? Now, there's also one question, right? For mono repos, like let's say you work for Google and you have a mono repository and you don't want to index it, right? It's very slow. Indexing is not like, I mean, if you have 20,000 lines of code, it might take 1 minute, for example. So if you have hundreds and thousands of lines of code, it's going to take a lot of time. So you choose that, okay, no, I don't want to index the whole repository. I work in a mono repo structure. I just want to index some subfolders. So you can go to index subdirectories. What it will do is it will give you all the subdirectories that are valid and you can click on them. Just SRC, you want to do tests as well. Okay, there you go. So it says indexing 2 subdirectories. It has indexed both repositories, subfolders, and that's it. Got it, guys? I think so far you guys get my point, right? And when you try to do this, get relevant commits, there you go, right? Now, let me also show you one thing, okay? This is very important. Okay, probably, I think, yeah, let me actually show the similar version of that in NewVim, because I think NewVim is more beautiful in this sense, because I kind of worked on it. I don't need to select. So I can do context pilot start indexing. Ta-da! And there you go. Like it tells files indexed, how many files have been indexed, indexing workspace, total files indexed. The tick mark was shown. So you can also do context pilot index subdirectory and you can hit enter. So it also shows you really nice structure of all the files that are there, right? If you see like SRC has all these files. I'm planning to disable it because for huge folders, at least I need to limit, because as you can see, this target has huge number of files, right? And I don't think people would like to see that. So probably I'll just show the total number of files that it has. For now, you can just hit tab. Now hitting tab, what does it mean? It already shows you a plus sign here. So when you hit a tab on a particular subfolder, it gets selected, right? And when you hit tab and when you hit enter, it will start indexing only those folders, and that's it. Ta-da, total files 11. That's it, right? And when you try to just get relevant commits, there you go. It's amazing, right? I mean, I'm sorry being, I know I'm being like very narcissist about my project here, but I hope you guys enjoy this as well so far. So this is like the whole progress. Okay. Now the next point is very simple, right? Let's OCD ke khora acha Swanand, okay. But let's talk about this now. Okay. So um, there's another problem that I want to talk about. The problem is very simple. Okay. This happens to me quite a lot of time when you join. Right now, as an example, this print all valid directories is you can possibly keep on doing LSP references and keep on trying the parent function, getting the parent function, trying to understand if I make any change here, what all other functions will be impacted, right? Or not just what all other functions, but what are the possibility that if I'm changing it here, I should change this thing somewhere else as well, right? So let's, of course, like if you add an argument, for example, the syntax will fail, like the compiler will warn you, but not in Python, right? For example, Python, the test will fail, right? So what do you do in that case, right? So generally you can keep doing LSP references, but LSP references is like they'll not work if you have a multi-language like whole model like this where the code is written in C++, then you have some bindings from Python and all, right? So in this case, what do you do, right? So you can select some piece of code and you can say, oh sorry, I'm not in Vim. You can do context pilot and you can do get context files for selected range. What does that mean? It shows you all the files that have been changed while this code was also being edited, right? So in this case, context CPT structs, possibly you need to take a look at it. Main.rs, possibly you need to take a look at it, right? All these things, right? So you can also maybe select huge lines of code and say that, okay, can you please tell me what are the relevant files? There you go, right? It does tell you all these files are there that are important, right? So just, I mean, this may not be most relevant, but sometimes, you know, when I'm trying to find a test file, it's very hard to find where is a test file for this. Sometimes you hit a breakpoint, sometimes you search for a keyword, right? So in these cases, let's say if I'm writing a test while I'm editing this piece of code which incorporate, I think I assume that everyone should be doing it, right? So in that case, it will be able to point out that, okay, these are the test files for this piece of function, right? And while it sounds very obvious that, okay, test files will be calling this function, it's not always obvious, because it's possible this print all valid directories is being called by another function and that function is being called by the test function. So either you look at the AST and be able to tell that, okay, there's a tree and that's where it calls, but that's not always possible, right? So I think git commit is the most powerful thing as long as you understand how it works. Okay, I'm going to come back to the complexity of this because it might sound like a just recursive git blame, which to be honest, I also thought. As you can see, like this is also, it returns the same code, right? Now, okay, first of all, let me tell you, for any of your companies, following problems are going to be solved now after this project. The very first problem is whenever you have a bug after a release, after something, you will be able to point out to the exact change that caused the bug using LLMs, or not even LLMs. The developers will be able to figure out by looking at the possible commits that happened. Okay. Git bisect does it, but only in very few cases it helps, not always. Okay. Right. And fire the connection. No, don't. The second thing that it's going to solve is for developers, right? When you are looking at a function that you're blinded upon, you know, sometimes it happens that you're looking at a function and like, buddy, who made this? Who added this new arc, right? This is stupid, right? And you're like, okay, you're angry and all. So what do? Right? Maybe you possibly look at the git blame and all, you say that, okay, what is the latest commit, but not always git commit, like the recent git blame is going to tell you what's happening, right? And actually, you know, if you guys are thinking that git blame is a solution, let me show you something. Okay, so you're curious about this should print was how, when was it added, right? I don't know, maybe git blame will tell you here or not. Yeah, right now. So see, this says allow descriptions query mode, but when you do this, like this last commit may not be the always commit that you're looking for, right? But when you do this, right, git blame prior, now can you please take a look at this file? Do you understand this should print is not there anymore, right? Like it's not there. I mean, you'll have to search for the whole like through the whole file to be able to find that argument, right? So git blame will change the version of the file when you go to the previous, right? So he can blame others. Jensen ko de do ye, I wish, yeah. Right. I mean, I hope you guys will just FI guys, I'm really hoping that you guys will spread the word. Try to use it at your work. This does not connect with cloud. This does not do anything that is a security issue. It stores DB into your local machine. It does not do anything else. That's something I can guarantee. So please try it out on your personal self as well and create issues if you find. Already using it work. Oh, nice. Thank you. I think like I'm gonna come back to the algorithm as well, because I think Dave, Swan, and everyone who is a developer here, they love it, right? Now the problem is the trick part is until very few releases, I thought using git blame, using git log -p is gonna solve the problems for me, right? And that's why indexing was so until what point of time, probably April 7. Until this point, I thought that okay, I've just done it right. Now the problem that came up after this was I realized shit. Took a while to index the repo. Not gonna lie, the laptop was heating too low. Is it? And I think that's what I'm suggesting. Like, please try indexing a subdirectory first, then try to. So I just realized, right? Uh, when you try to index a subdirectory, please make sure that you probably delete the DB. So I have to, like, the DB is always in context pilot under context underscore pilot underscore DB. That's not something you guys should know. So I'm planning to introduce a cleanup mode, which will delete the DB and restart everything for you. So if you want to re-index a repository, always to start, like always index again. Don't index a subdirectory because that's gonna append. Okay. So that's a suggestion, like if you, but I mean, of course, it's in our early stage, so I'll keep on fixing these things. We are using it. What are you using here? Swanand. So, okay, so until this point of time, I realized it's gonna work, but then I realized it's not gonna work. I'm telling you, I almost gave up. Okay, because at that time I was always in a blissful world that okay, things are working fine. I just need to improve the database optimization stuff and all. But then I realized the algorithm has been wrong all this time, right? And that's why I realized, okay, I should write tests. Now let me show you that the amount of hard work I put into just testing this file, okay? So the algorithm was very simple, right? My question to you is very simple. How would you figure out the commits that have ever touched this line, How would you figure out, right? So I thought of so many things, but then I thought about this problem. Okay, I thought like, okay, probably Git has been wrong all this time. Why did Git not introduce this feature? Then I thought maybe the problem is that when Git started, it did not think of this problem that Git blame can be, off and off, right? So then I thought, okay, so what this means is for each line of code, I want to look at the very first commit that ever introduced this change, right? But that's not possible because when you do git blame on each line number, that's not going to work. So I thought, okay, but at least I can go to the history of each file. So what I do is I look at the history of each file. And by history, I mean I recursively start looking at the very first commit that ever introduced this change. That you can go and look at history here, right? And then you look at, okay, which commit edit this file. Okay, so then I start from that commit. Then what I say that, okay, now you build this file again. Now you build this recent version of this file, starting from the very first commit that ever started working on this file. And you build it such way that every line of code is tracked correctly. Now, what do you mean by that? For example, it's very possible that this perform for whole file function in the very first commit. Let's look at, for example, here. I'll show you an example. Okay. So possibly let's look at a further cleanup stage, right? It's very old. So at this point, algo.loc.rs was touched. Okay. Now at this point, this perform for whole file function is not even there, right? So that means it was added somewhere else. Okay, but in any case, let's look at this function, for example. It's a 32nd line of code. Now in another commit, this can be at 47th line of code. So I want to be able to track whatever commit that is changing the location or changing the content of this particular line of code. I want to be able to track it. Okay, so how do I do that? Now imagine this. Okay, so this is how git diff, whatever, right? from a commit hash comes up, right? So it says -2 comma 5. This means that a particular commit deleted 5 lines of code. Then it, starting from the second line number, it added 3 new lines of code, right? So what this means is 5 lines were deleted, 3 lines were added, right? So I should be able to track whatever 5 lines were deleted, and I should be able to track those 3 lines as well, right? So this is how I do. I have a function that understands and parses it into a understandable category, that it says start line number is 2, change count is 5, change type is deleted, and what is the change content, right? And what's the new change content, right? Okay, let me show it to you. Yeah, there you go. So now imagine what you have. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So at this point you have 9 lines of code with each content is also there. Now at this point what you did was you deleted 5 lines. Now you have added only 1 line. So you have deleted. No, I have not mentioned this algorithm in the README, buddy, but everything else is mentioned in the README. That what, like, I can't mention the algorithm, to be honest. Like, I think it would be too much detail and people will just hop off. But features wise, usage wise, selectively index, and I think the main README people should be looking for is the extensions, because I don't expect people to directly call the server. So all the plugins and all the commands that I support are all here, right? So I think they should be able to take a look at it. But I mean, so understand this, right? So 5 lines have been deleted, line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5, line 5. Okay. Now this line 23 has been added. And what I'm saying is this argument is basically saying that all these files were not deleted. The second line was actually replaced. Right? You understand what I mean? So over here, someone changed the content from line 2 to line 23. Right? So this commit hash should basically be saying that for the second line number, the content is line 23, but the second line number should have the relevant commits as very first original commit 1, but also the commit 2. But any other line, line 3, line 4, line 5, whatever there are, all those should only have the very first commit because they've been deleted now. Right? I mean, so overall, what I'm saying is we should be able to track the replacement as well. Now, it's very tricky to understand because let's say in a new commit, what I did was I commented this out. Okay, so I'm trying to make an edit here, but let's do it here. Okay, so here what I'm trying to do in a new commit is I'm commenting it out. Now, how would you understand that this is not a commit that added a new line? It replaced this line of code with another line of code. So this is a replacement. Now, there are multiple algorithms for string matching. The very simple one is Levenshtein. Now, what does Levenshtein say? See, Levenshtein, by in particular usage wise, it says how many steps would I need to convert this line of code to this line of code? You will need 3, right? So all I did was I set a threshold that, okay, if you need less than 5 moves, that means this line is similar. In that case, I always say that, okay, these lines are similar. That means treat them as replacement, right? That's all I've done, right? So, I mean, we are able to mostly calculate, like, for example, if someone changes the variable name from this hash map to, like, from map to hash map, we should be able to figure this out, right? Now, Levenshtein has a threshold. This can change particular, I mean, this should ideally not the best algorithm to use. We should use NLP. So I'm planning to do that. And that's where we will get more accurate results in the future. But right now, Levenshtein was the fastest choice for me as well. So, I mean, this is all I've done, right? Also, like, this is very important thing to imagine, right? So the way Git works is when it shows these lines of code, right? It says 7, 2 lines have been deleted, but this time it's 3. Why? Because if you go back, right, 5 lines were deleted. So it would be also nice to address the why part in the README. I'll talk about that quickly. But yeah, yes, okay, let me actually point this. Do you mean this? Just a tool that answers following questions for you. What all commits ever does this piece? Or do you mean the why of, why it's such a big deal? Do you mean that? Okay, I can actually have a motivation section here. And actually just pointed out explicitly that, why was it a motivation for me? What was the problem statement I was trying to solve? Yeah, makes sense. I should do that. But yeah, I mean, like, look at this code, right? Like, I have actually spent, and this is not generated by ChatGPT. You can see that this is not Copilot written code. Trust me, guys, when you're writing a code, don't writing new algorithms by ChatGPT was the biggest mistake of my life. I literally thought about it after giving up from ChatGPT. I printed 7, 8 papers from the deep search mode, everything. Then I'm like, okay, no, I should sit down, think about it. I was able to. So, like, test reorder map, few lines replaced with less lines, right? And if you look at the algorithm, it's very interesting, right? So, what I've done is basically I have a few cases to handle. So when you, for example, you have few lines replaced with a single line, then you have few lines replaced with few lines, then you have single line deleted, then you have few lines deleted, then you have single line replaced with another single line, then you have new lines added, because the logic for all these categories is always going to be different. How I'm going to track, right? So this is where I'm doing all the stuff, and this is the whole algorithm I've written, right? And that's why we have been able to solve this. Why? Because of all the tests I've written, right? And trust me, guys, like when I ran it on any project that I worked on, it was able to give right results because the way I've tested, right? Like it's like around how many lines of code? I mean, 1900 lines of code, but if you like kind of remove the formatting things that have happened, still 1,000 lines of code, I imagine, right? So it still needs more testing, to be honest, right? But I think we have gotten there at this point where we can trust this code um, to certain extent. Okay, so I think, guys, please start using it. Uh, and it's at a point I would imagine that people would like to contribute as well. Um, so please do that as well. And while you're here, don't forget to like the stream, guys. Come on, it's been 3 years I've worked on this. I would really appreciate, guys, that today you show the love. Um, right, please do that. Anyways, like I think pending thing for me is the motivation part here. I particularly loved this index subdirectories command. I thought like this is amazing, right? To be able to only index a few subdirectories. Take a look at this code, guys. Like, I mean, if you ever want to understand how things have worked, it's very decent. You have request type, different request types, right? For example, you have indexing here, then I have index subfolder. If it is provided, you split by commas, then you pass a subfolder over here, then you have a handle server code. Take a look at the design, try to understand what's happening, right? To this extent, I'll tell you, I've tried to be more, it's more about accuracy. So for each extension, when they list the subdirectories here, they ignore the dot get ignore part as well, right? So how they're doing it, so I have a new, like what I did was I thought, for the sake of consistency between NeoVim and VS Code, I would do this list subdirs thing. I'll add a mode here in context palettes Rust code, so that these VS Code and NeoVim plugins actually call this Rust code only for all the logic. See, in some time, let's say this get ignore, people want that, okay, I don't just have one get ignore, I have multiple get ignores. So maybe a subdirectory also has a get ignore. So in that case, I have to respect that as well, which I don't do right now. So they'll create an issue. Now, if I had this logic in the VS Code extension, it will be difficult for me to manage in NeoVim extension, um, VS Code extension and all. So all I'm doing right now is I'm calling it the context palette plugin. It will list all the subdirectories for me, and then it will go on and do it, right? So behind the scenes, this is what happens, guys. When I do context pilot, pwt hyphen t, hyphen t is like what is the request type you want, and you can do list subdirs, I guess, right? And you can see like this is how it outputs, right? So if I do for PyTorch, for example, or some bigger repository, I don't know if there's some, maybe I can try finding, okay, not this open source, okay, NumPy, for example. So when I try to run context pilot list subdirects, there you go, right? So it kind of prints this to std out, and all these extensions catch this std out, and then they are able to do this, right? So at this point, if you just want to index something, you can do index, and you can pass the particular numpy hyphen core include comma separated, but there you go, right? And as you can see, it's starting to already index those repositories, right? If something fails, it will also show this to you, and it will carry on. So you don't have to worry. Sometimes it happens that it's interesting, to be honest. If this is panicking, this should never happen. But anyways, like I think overall indexing is never stopped because these are like running separately. um yeah, as long as like keep on experimenting, guys, let me know how it goes. This is so far what I've done. Okay, this VS Code extension, I don't think I'm much to show other than this. I love it a lot. I hope to use it a lot. And guys, the way installation works right now is you have to do brew install if you're using brew. If you're using arc, which Nihal has added this sudo pacman sorry AUR repository there, so I don't think I have it here. AUR context pilot. Yeah, so it is at the already latest release, so he is maintaining this package here, so you can please go and try to install from here. Just make package it after installing and that's it, right? So this is amazing what he has done here. This is very sweet whatever he has mentioned. It's really nice. um, that's it guys. Mostly this is it. That's all I wanted to talk about. The goal is for all of us to use it, I mean, I'm asking it as a favor, okay, because I can't do it alone. I didn't do it alone for sure. um, there were so many people in this journey tracking me, and they were pushing me to do it for so long, so I appreciate that as well. So thank you so much. Please let me know, Fedora, Ubuntu, if anyone wants to pick it up and try to do it. If you're using Ubuntu, if you want to be a contributor, just add it into apt and please put your name out here, right? That's it mostly, guys. Thank you so much for being in this journey again. um, they thank you again for pushing so hard. I'm sorry to disappoint all this time, guys. When trust me, when this ran on my when I tested it locally, I was happy, of course. I had given up. Trust me, I will show you some notes eventually where this algorithm I wrote, right? And after I gave up multiple times. I want to, I really want to, but I'm also afraid that it's not being tested properly with people. Like, I know Reddit is very cruel. If things don't work, Hacker News, if it gets popular and people don't like the thing, they're just gonna bash me for so many things. So I'm trying to let people use it. All you guys, I really hope that you will use it somewhere. If no push, of course, if you don't find a use, don't use it. But yeah, so I was talking about this, right? So I had given up multiple times, okay. But one of the things that stuck me was, of course, like Dave telling me that, okay, we'll finally get it in 2024. He was having this poll on stream, and no matter what, like, of course, he was trying to push me for good, but it always reminded me that there's someone who has like been in this journey. I mean, there are so many people, of course, but you guys have been pushing me. So if no matter what, you guys deserve to see the end of it, right? I mean, version one of it, of course, it's not there yet. So thank you so much, guys. Always humbled to see so much support. I know for watching is not according to people that it's support, but to me it has been real support, right? It of course, like, I spam the Discord channel sometimes with all the updates because I don't have anyone else to share all these things. I only have you guys who understand these things, right? Like, uh, so thank you so much for being a really good listener to all those things as well. I sounded like a successful speech, but I think it's all worth it to talk about this. So yeah, I mean, this is it. This is it. Like, when I ran this on my company's code base, because I was very afraid. See, eventually I wanted it to use on a huge repository, right? So I thought I'll run it local, like when I'm working at work, and trust me, it gave the right result. And that time I had tears in my eyes. Okay, it sounds silly, but to those who are really passionate about computer science development towards their projects, they know what it feels like, right? So I had tears in my eyes because, trust me, it was able to give me the right result. Okay, and I was like, oh wow, um, this is how it looks like, right? Yeah. So then that motivated me to uh, make it feasible for everyone to use it, right? Because he's, again, as they've said, like, his laptop was burning, so I don't want people to face that issue, right? So I there's so much scope, guys. Like, I mean, it's not like it's there, you know and I can't finish it solo. Like, my dream is to get it to Lazy Vim, to VS Code official extension page, Hacker News, Reddit. I really want that, but it's also like, I am very scared of critics, because if anyone comes and abuses me, I take it personally. I mean, not I get, I don't like it, right? Like, I know Reddit and Hacker News are sometimes very critical about whatever you do. So I'm working hard to make sure that I do my best. Now, whatever happens, it happens, right? It's I can't control their expressions, their reactions to it, right? So yeah, it's more than 209 commits. It's probably 209 days of giving up and trying to start again. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for being there again. Thank you. I I should I know I thank a lot, but it's probably you guys deserve it as well. But I mean, like FI, like I didn't write. So I wrote this Lua code initially, but I did not really wrote the VS Code extension. It was all written by ChatGPT. So I kept asking ChatGPT, okay, like like I wrote this Lua code. Can you please convert it into VS Code extension? Of course, it required me. I know how it works because I had to debug. But then for me to like I don't even spend right now as well too much efforts into this. I generally fix the Lua code. I ask it to fix in the TypeScript as well. And this is where, guys, I push things. Pushing a VS Code extension is surprisingly very easy. And guys, please give stars. I think people will start trusting the extension only once it is there. Okay, so please do give a star. Unhinged, hi, thank you so much for joining here. What's up? How are you doing? I just finished talking about the biggest project of my life. It will be out there as a recording as well, so I hope you guys will rewatch if you would want to. But anyways, like I think Context Pilot. Um, yeah, this Dev.md. If I go back and take a look, make sure that everything can run in background. Yes, done. Keep the server running and iterate through all the active buffers first, and then all the files and not needed anymore. It's really fast. Earlier, I'll tell you guys 1 second. I'll tell you one thing, okay? It took some around. It used to take around how many? 1 minute, 2 minutes for even my own context pilot RS. Now it takes 10 seconds max. And of course, those are not optimizations, those are bug fixes that I've done. In-house DB, yes, everything is done. User should have option for some configs. Number of relevant files are not needed anymore. They should not decide. Yeah, we have. Oh, that's okay. It's coming from Python, this yield thing. Yes, we are done the progress as well. In case file is not present. Yeah, already done. The renaming thing, everything is handled. Almost sort given array. That's a separate algorithm thing. How to calculate available threads. So that's also done. Load balancing is not required. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. All right. I think most of the things are done, guys. Please, as I said, keep on putting issues out there. If you want to contribute, I really welcome all of those. But in any case, like I think Discord has been there as a journey to Mark as well. This context by thread in itself is a recent buzz about what he have done, right? It started with Nihal pointing out. I'm like, yes, yay! Finally you're checking it out. I was just fixing it. I think this is 10th of May, which is like when I really shipped this new algorithm. It's been 8 days since then. So yeah, I love to do more of these streams, guys, where I talk about things, random things, right? So I really would love to talk to you more. But I've been busy with all this recently, so I didn't stream the last 2 weekends probably because of this. All right, okay, guys. I think I should hop off and let you all be. Thank you so much for joining in. Unhinged, Dev, Swanand, Mohit, everyone who was here. Thank you so much. It's not the end. I have few more projects in line. I'll continue working on those. And I hope you guys keep seeing the changes. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you so much again. Thank you, everyone. Take care. This is Kushal Shishmari, and you were watching me on my own channel. Because yay. All right, guys. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care. All right. Sayonara. La vida, France. I don't know what I say. Bye. Take care.